How you doing, Larry? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, John.
Hey, how you doing, Doug?
Roll call.
Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Hendricks?
Here.
Mr. Duco?
Here.
Mr. Rowley?
Here. I'm going to start with the superintendent's report first tonight. I want to start off by, I start writing this usually the week before. And we want to thank the student, staff, and Board of Education and community for their patience and understanding as we are coming to the end of a unique winter. Staff members continue to cover content standards and skills associated with the upcoming OGT and OAA throughout the adjusted schedules during this brutal winter. I have in there that this will be the first full week of school since before Christmas, and hopefully that's true with some upcoming weather looking down tomorrow and Monday. I hope I'm right on that. Thanks to the staff. We want to thank Columbiana County Prosecutor Robert Heron for making a donation to our DARE program through his drug forfeiture fund. The transportation team continues to monitor the Race to the Top scope of work. We had a waiver day on February 18th. We have representatives from ODE and Race to the Top presented on topics including the Instructional Improvement System, or IIS, park assessments, performance-based instruction, and reading across the curriculum. To update you, this is the last year of Race to the Top, and we continue to complete the content area curriculum maps, OPES and OTES evaluations, as well as the resident educator program. Also, share a letter with you, something that came after the Building and Grounds Committee meeting. Just so you know, we're talking about the home and visitor side of the basketball court, or the gymnasium. And Jeremy, I'm ready to offer my services to paint inside both gymnasiums on the wall behind each prospective bleacher side, home and visitor. Over the past few years, as a spectator, I've been witness to nasty comments, negative remarks, and yelling from visitors sitting among the Leetonia fans. And that's sincerely from Lisa Lorch. And we would like to do that. We're going to do that this summer to make some specifications of where students should sit. We're home visitor, home students, visitor students. Sometimes we'll have games over there, in there, and if it's especially if it's a team without a large following, everybody comes to the same side. It's caused some issues, which I'm sure Mr. McElduff and Mrs. Duca can attest to as well. So I thought that was very nice. Any objections, please let me know, as you made that clear. Just want to make sure the board didn't have any objections to that.
How are you going to make sure that people sit where the signs are? Because that's going to be...
That's going to be the next thing.
You can put all the signs up you want, but...
We're hoping it helps direct them to the right place if the signs are there. That will help them, at least get them to the right spot. Right now, there's no designation, so hoping that works. Like we talked about at the Safety Committee meeting, too, and I'll do that next. Since we're on that, we talked about the parking out front. We put up the signs, and I talked to Chief yesterday, and he said that he was very happy with, they gave out some warnings, they didn't have to give any tickets, and the parking in the front of the school where the buses or the ambulance would come up was very good this year. So that was a deterrent, and we hope that this also is a proactive approach. We have some committee that we've been meeting as committees. I want to start off, though, before you, Michael, is Doug Jones. I know that I told him I put him early on the schedule from the Career Center, and he has an update from the Career Center.
Thank you for doing that, because I have another place that I need to be, so thank you. The information that I gathered, there's 3 new board members this year, and so I was trying to get some information that may be of interest for all of you. But right now, down at the Career Center, we have 15 juniors and 14 seniors enrolled. The Leetonia sophomores visited the Career Center on January 15th to tour the facility, see if they would be interested. We do this every year. And to date, 24 sophomores have made application for the 14-15 school year. 15 of those were half-day, 9 of those are full-day. They do something similar like we do here, a little different because of the different shop classes and stuff you can do down there besides academics. But we have mandatory academic intervention for any student who's currently failing an academic course at the Career Center. The students attend intervention during their lab time so that way they can't miss any of their academic courses. They stress to all students the importance of passing their academics so that they'll graduate on time. During the second semester of the year, the juniors have the opportunity to job shadow through the work-based learning programs that are down there, and the seniors can actually be placed in a job. Many of them are, and so in the afternoon they can actually go to a job, get on-the-job training, but they have to be in good academic standing in order to be able to do that, so that's stress to them down there. There's an auto collision repair student from Leetonia, Dusty Kelly, and he won a Chromebook for his exemplary attendance during the first 9-week period. And what the Career Center decided to do this year is students who are in perfect attendance for the first 9-week term were entered into a drawing for this Chromebook laptop. And the reason that's being done, every single person at the table works for a business or owns a business. And when you hire somebody, obviously attendance is important. And when we have business folks come down, they tell us what is important to them. And obviously if you hire somebody, you're hiring them because you need them there, and you want them to be coming every day. So we're stressing attendance coming to school and telling them how important that is for when they go out into the job market. There's a new initiative that the Career Center took up this year, and it's called the Character Counts Program. And what that is, students are recognized for demonstrating strong character through actions observed by the staff or the administration. And what happens is when that is demonstrated and observed, we print and display certificates outside of the attendance office with the students' names who are nominated for the program. And just to give you some of the Leetonia students that have been recognized in the first semester and why they were recognized, Bryce Turney, he took the initiative to replace screws missing in some chairs in a classroom. He saw some chairs were wobbly, and he just took the initiative to go ahead and do that on his own so that nobody would fall and get hurt. Josh Faulkner, most of you probably know, was recognized for setting the Leetonia school record for kicking 4 field goals against Wellsville. He also shot at 84 at Salem Hills to advance to the district golf tournament, and then he proceeded to place 13th in the cross-country meet this year. Calvin Shepard was sent to a specific location by one of the teachers to retrieve an item, and when he got there, the item was not there. And so he stopped at the office to let the principal know that he wasn't going to go directly back to the classroom, that he was going to go check for it in a different place. On the surface, that may not seem like anything, but it's being really responsible, and that's what they're trying to make sure everybody's doing down there, again, so that when they go out into the real world and start working, that those are characteristics that people that are hiring are looking for. Haley Scoville. Some of you may know Haley. She volunteers to work with the homeless. She does this monthly, and she gives them haircuts. And Jonathan Franco, one of the teachers was driving in downtown Lisbon, and Jonathan happened to be behind him, and there was something on their car that they had placed on the trunk and forgot to put into their vehicle. So Jonathan just flagged them down and stopped them and let them know. And then the other thing that they did for that, they were given a Google Nexus 7 tablet, and the winner of that for the first semester was Calvin Shepard. And if you don't know Calvin, he's a level 2 welding student from Leetonia. And the idea of this, the initiative along with the attendance program, provides technology incentives as another way to encourage the use of technology for the educational processes that are being taught down there. So a lot of times, because the students aren't here full-time, we may not hear about them very often, but I just wanted to assure everybody that they're doing very well and making Leetonia proud. Okay? Thank you.
Good to see you, Doug. The Building and Grounds Committee, Mr. Rule.
Okay, we met about 2 weeks ago and had a couple different subjects that we talked about. The first one that we talked about is the hybrid tangent relationship that we're building with the Leetonia Washingtonville Baseball Association for the completion of the baseball field. The outfield and the baseball field will also be part of the soccer practice field in the future. And Russ was there, and myself and Richard and RB and Troy and Jennifer. So we were all there and sort of took a layman's approach to all the different subjects. Number one concern is the least bit of damage to the bank account. Coffers are always a very important situation right now. The baseball project seems wonderful. No real problems with that. And then we're going to continue to monitor the parking in the front of the school. And we have a plan on fixing and repaving some of the drive-through that wasn't done with our big replacement of the main parking lot. So we're looking at cost as far as that goes. We sort of scrapped the plan that we were talking about, perhaps of extending the parking in the front. Very cost prohibitive. In a district where we've scraped for money for the last 5 years, we sort of just, it's good to entertain things, but when things aren't cost prohibitive, you've got to kick them to the curb. So that's what we did with that. Also, a big topic of discussion was the school bus. And Russ seems very, very entrenched with analyzing the different options that are there, whether you go with Bluebird or whether you go with a couple different options. We sort of scrapped the idea also there about going with the natural gas for the bus. Logistics is really rough with that right now as far as getting the fueling station and being part of a conglomerate of different districts that would all have a natural bus system, and so we could get that there. The problem that we really faced with that was the initial, once again, cost. The investment in part of that, and then you'd have to kick in money to get that station up and running, so we chose to go with the conventional bus, which I think economically and safety-wise it would be a brand new 2014, 2015 bus, so that was that. And we also discussed, and recently, did you take the paper back?
Yeah, we don't want to.
We were talking about the light bulb situation and how the light bulb situation could affect the school. As you know, we have a lot of light bulbs out there. I think, 80?
12. Oh, they're out front.
Yeah.
We have 8 out right now. We're getting ready to...
Now, how many do we have total?
80.
80.
Yeah, 80.
So we have approximately 80 light bulbs out there. Now, Richard and I have, off the record, talked about different options that we could maybe do with using the business savvy that we have, with perhaps getting a little bit more grassroots with it along with Russ. We've talked about maybe getting a bucket truck and trying to do some of the replacements ourselves. We were presented with an LED program, which is, in my opinion, absolutely amazing. And I think you know where I'm going with the next statement, cost prohibitive. It's, I think in the future there is a possibility that the LED program could get off the ground and running. I find it difficult right now. We're still debating in the committee how we're going to approach this. Money is constantly an issue, and maintenance of the grounds is really a difficult situation. I really do think Russ is doing a really great job of trying to get his arms around the situation. The LED program isn't dead. It is something that we're going to revisit. Right now, it's really hard to allocate that kind of money for that. So that is still on the discussion, and if the people in the district have comments or suggestions on any of these subjects, we would be very interested. This is my 5th year on the board. The committee thing, and I think all of us here, I know Larry and Richard and Michael, and obviously Kurt Jennings, who's in China right now, we're very busy guys. And when Rob first mentioned about these committees, in the back of your head, you get a little bit selfish. You're like, oh, God, more time commitment. But I incorporated it into my lunch break, and I thought it was one of the best hours I've spent on the school board, because it's really it's a brainstorming process, and you're free to speak your mind, and you don't have to worry about ramifications from your thoughts or what you think you can interpret, to try to improve the school in the grounds of the building. And I found it very, very satisfying and very very building, and throwing the ideas off of each other and maybe hearing different aspects. I thought Russ was the cornerstone of it, and it was fun watching him and Richard throw ideas at each other, and RB joining in, and I think that's pretty much it for the committee.
Thanks.
I have a couple questions on the committee. Mike, is there, like when you say the parking out front, what was cost prohibitive? What was the amount?
Well, the problem is that originally when it was proposed, they were just going to put gravel out front. They were going to tear the grass up and put gravel out front. Blacktop's $250 a square foot.
So what would it
We
be?
were thinking between $16,000 and $22,000.
That's what it would have cost to do that. And on the LED lights, what was
To switch
roughly
out
that cost?
to switch out the 12 LED lights, it was $8,000.
$8,000.
And you can buy new light bulbs and ballast to fix those 12 lights that are burnt out for $500.
And out of the committee, what I thought maybe would be a good thing to do, and I'll just throw it out, would be if we said, here's 5 things we may like to do, put the cost there, and then can we do it or can't we do it? Like I hear people talking about a soccer field, and maybe we say, well, we have $10,000 to spend. What do we want to spend it on? And then we decide.
And that's what we kind of did.
That's
what we kind of did, because right now, and that's why the bus was such a big, because the new bus is going to be about $90,000. So and then the computer switch, the computers, we allocated about $35,000 for computers. And that's in a budget of a PI of about $177,000 right now. So that's what we kind of did. We prioritized at the bus. The last bus we replaced was the oldest bus in the fleet is 97. Or rather, 1997 was purchased. So that was this bus is going to replace.
2 years ago, we got the new bus?
2 years ago, we had a new bus. So, yeah, the oldest one in the fleet, bus 3, which we're running right now in Leetonia, I believe. So that was one of the things we did, and that's another thing we did was we decided to talk to Washingtonville. We don't expect them to pay for the whole project, the Baseball Association, because we're going to use that field as well. So we want to work in conjunction, trying to get as much as we can from both sides. And I forget, Russ is working with Jimmy Roller on that as far as, and I want to say, I think 55,000, 4 to 5,000.
Right? You said 1,000, not 55.
Oh, I'm sorry, 100. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to donate the seed. They have someone to do that. I'm sorry.
Well, and in Leetonia, it seems like a lot of things, even as far as with I think prime example is the scoreboard. I think the district's been ahead of the curve as far as doing what we could do to survive, and I think Larry has a really good point right there. I think you don't want to just be like we're watching every penny. That's all that matters. And in a way, that's what got us here, to have a little bit of a surplus. But you do have to worry about it. So, it's nice when, like, with the school board, we have the donations come through. But I think Larry has a point. You have to always keep improving the building and the grounds, because if not, we have this wonderful campus. It's a $30 million campus, K through 12. It's not even 10 years old yet, and we all know when things aren't maintained, you have a mess in your hand within 15, 20 years. It's going to be, so.
Yeah, like I said, yeah. So
The total package to switch out all 80 LED lights was between $40,000 and $50,000.
yeah.
To replace a lot of light bulbs.
We also, and we're going to start right now, we're going to, and I'm not sure if we're going to actually just use a Sharpie and put it on the ballast and put it on the bulbs, but I think Russ and Richard really came up with this idea, or have a log, to really try to monitor how often we change them.
Right.
Because if we're changing the light bulbs we have now every 3 or 4 years, does LED really make sense? Or if we're changing them, every year, then LED probably makes a lot of sense in the future.
It was a 6 to 10 year payoff to get your money back from the savings. So
Plus, before you guys were on the board, when we bought the last bus, we had talked about it, because we were sort of like, when we did the analyzation of our fleet, it really wasn't a great report. And so, of course, you don't have the money to replace 4 or 5 buses immediately. So we didn't really want to go more than 2 to 4 years without replacing a bus, feeling at the end of a dozen years or 12 years, we would have the whole fleet replaced, and the oldest one would have only been 10 or 12 years old, instead of, what are we at, 17, 18 years old?
17, 16,
17 years old now.
Yeah. So we wanted to try to avoid that. Mr. Anderson. Academic committee?
Yes. So we met for academic committee on, well, it was last Thursday. Mr. Mino, Mr. Radinsky, Mr. Duco, and myself Went over, a lot of it was topical, and all of it was learning lesson for me since I'm really trying to catch up on what's going on here. As far as, we start out addressing academic programs, and for the high school, the type of blend of what you want to offer as far as advanced courses, STEM programs called the Inventor Cloud, AP courses, dual credit, seniors, sophomores, which some of those are currently in place for students to take advantage of, and really talking about the participation in them, the cost of them, and trying to find the right mix of the current class and future classes coming through. Then we address the industrial arts building and all the equipment in there, which hasn't been used for how long now?
These 6 years.
Hasn't been used for 6 years. Sounds like if we were ever to go back to industrial arts, the machinery would have to be replaced anyways, so we are now leaning towards selling it basically through, was it an auction? Or
Closed bid auction, yeah.
closed bid auction. And then that would be what would be going in that room?
It's in storage now, the weight room's there now, so
Okay.
it's in storage.
All right, and then moving down to elementary, talk about the third grade reading guarantee, and talk about how to handle scheduling and staffing, because we didn't look too good in the last paper. And guided reading, how that's tying into it, offering that at a younger age, trying to continue to push programs like the meetings we've had for third grade guarantee, the library night we had here a few weeks ago, and just to see what else we can offer. Address scheduling and staffing both for next year and future years. So looking at 2014, looking at the current teaching staff and the courses we have to offer, what's the most efficient approach on who teaches what courses based on senior class, and looking forward, how many kids are in the junior class, sophomore, going all the way down into 8th, 7th, and 6th grade, to try to put in place something that we could follow through multiple years. Last thing we want to do is cause some giant shift from year to year. And then talking about the course load, and again, what we can offer to all students and what makes the most sense. And outside of that, we did talk about the alumni scholarship, the best way to implement or follow through with handling that. Really, that's about it. Again, for me, it was really just trying to learn as much as I can, so certainly appreciate being a part of it.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Good.
So we're going to move on to 4, and I'm looking for a motion for the approval of minutes of 4A, B, and C. Motion.
Second.
Do we have a discussion on any of the minutes?
No one wants to go. Roll.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes. And then we'll move to the treasurer's report.
Okay. In the treasurer's reports, we have bills, accounts payable, which include the board reports. We had a lot of donations during the last 2 months. These donations were made to the Perkins Tutor Scholarship, $100 from Diane Perkins, $50 from Mark and Maria Fringer, $50 from Jay and Connie Fringer, $50 from Jason and Ashley Perkins and family, $50 from John and Aaron Newburn and family, $30 from Lynn D'Angelo, $30 from Vicki Carmen, $30 from Phyllis Archer, and $10 from Diane Perkins. And then the following list of donations were made in honor of Pat Mango to the football program. $50 from Gregory and Beth Ewing, $50 from Patty and John Smith, $50 from David, Luann, Katie, and Sam Haliski, $100 from JP, Susan, and Mert Fringer, and Diane Perkins. We also had a donation from Michelle and Dan Votata for $122.25 for the middle school spelling bee ribbons, medals, and trophies. And we also had $400 from Damon Industries to the NOSB Activity Fund, which is the science fund that Molly Coffey runs.
Excellent.
We also have 2 financial items to approve, baseball supplemental budget and track supplemental budget.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
It's about $1,000 in donations there.
Yeah, a lot.
That's really nice.
Excellent.
Jen, I had sent you something about the cafeteria, the food service fund being such a large encumbrance.
Yes.
Chance to look at that?
Yes, I did. And a lot of that is the purchase order for the nutrition group. I put that on at the beginning of the year for the whole year, and that's why it's so high.
Okay.
Most of that is about $108,000 of the encumbrance that you're looking at. There are also hospitalization in that encumbrance, because I put that PO on for the whole year too. And that'll go down as we keep paying on it, and we get receipts in weekly to the cafeteria. So in the end, it'll get better.
And do we have a credit card?
Yes.
So some of that, is that the Home Depot?
We actually
Services.
have 2 credit cards. We have Home Depot and we
Okay.
have MasterCard.
Okay. And what's that limit? $500 or
Actually, I think it's $5,000.
$5,000?
You approve everything when anyone uses that?
Sue and I are the only ones that can order off the credit card.
Excellent. Great.
That's all I have, Wayne.
Roll call?
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes. Okay, it's time for public participation. Let's see if we get the list up here.
Grab your agenda while you're Grab your agenda while you're there.
Everybody signed up for public participation? Anyone? Do you? Okay.
I have one question. I didn't think of it until you were talking about it. One comment, one question. I like the committee reports. That's very nice. The LED lighting, I remember I was here when we were presented with that. Is that going to be mandated within the next 10 years or mandatory?
The state's been very gray with it. There's been no specifics, like with timing or anything like that. I think when they first came out and before the hatchet came, I think they were willing to give you things, but now, as we see the surrounding districts and the situation that they're in, which is even a worse situation than us, I think they're really nervous about putting those restraints on you, saying that, by 2015 you have to have it done. I think they would love for you to have it done because it's probably the way of the future, but I think a lot of the districts are in the same boat that we're in. It's just, like Richard said, we're looking at, about $50,000 for that. I'm sure it'd be pretty,
Oh, no, so we don't have to worry about it because it's not being mandated.
For now.
Yeah, sure, it'll be pretty, but... Okay, that's all. I was just
Well,
wondering if that went away.
if something comes down the pipe, we'll let you know. Okay. Okay, we have old business and the student achievement report, and that's Larry Duco.
Yes. We had 2 students participate in the solo and ensemble band. They received a 2 excellent for their efforts, and it was Alyssa Harris and Mitchell Baker. And Sasha Davis won the Leetonia Spelling Bee, while Sean Grayhouse finished second. Both young men have qualified to advance to regional competition. Congrats and good luck to them. And there was a number of pictures in the paper on that. Our spelling bee got a lot of good publicity.
There was a whole page.
There was.
There was.
Must have been-
Morning Journal.
Yes.
Thanks, Michelle.
The National Ocean Science Bowl put on by YSU is called the Penguin Bowl, and that was at the Pittsburgh Zoo this year on Saturday, February 1st. At the overnight stay at the zoo, students got a behind-the-tour scene of the aquarium, which included a training session with the sharks and a chance to pet a penguin. Damon Industries sponsored the team. Team members were Bree Frederick, Rachel Power, Janae Shar, Nicole Danko, and Bailey Yeagley. And our 5th grade girls basketball team competed in the Jackson Milton tournament. They finished second. The team members were Delaney Roller, Mia Dolan, Taryn Ferry, Katie Supal, Samantha Schneider, Haley Brock, Lexi Morgan, Emily Ackerman, and Trishelle Seinerth, not sure how to say that. And the team was coached by Caroline Ferry and Ron Schneider. And our 8th grade girls basketball team, if we're mentioning sports,
Yes.
finished second in the junior high girls ITCL lower tier tournament.
Excellent. That's right, I forgot that, yes. Excellent. Okay, new business, sort of personnel. Approve Cody Stokes as a volunteer baseball coach for the remainder of the 2013-14 school year.
Motion.
Second. Discussion?
I know Cody. I like Cody. I am going to vote no only because I do not like when a coach is coaching kids that he played with. He was teammates of these kids 2 years ago. I just, in my mind, I do not like that. So I have nothing against Cody. Very, very nice young man. But I'm going to vote no for that reason.
Yeah, I understand. And I talked to Mr. Malkoff and Mr. Radinsky today, and actually Cody was recommended first to be the paid assistant. And I think that you had some similar concerns to go volunteer. I don't want to put words in your mouth and put you on the spot, but that's something we talked about today. Usually in the past we've gone as long as they've been removed 1 year, but we talked about maybe looking over that as well, because that I can see the reasoning in that.
Knowing Cody like you do you think he has the leadership skills that it'll develop into a strong...
Cody's a very, I mean, he's a nice young man. But sometimes it's harder on the other kids. They may have had problems with him, and you got to look at the kids that are juniors and seniors too. Maybe they didn't get along with him, so it works both ways.
Exactly. It could be.
Yes.
Their personal. Okay.
Mr. Duca?
No.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Okay, B1, I'm going to do quite a few of these in supplemental contracts, pull it out separately. So B1, I'll start with that one. Non-renew all supplemental contracts held during the 2013-14 school year at the end of the school year, which will be the end of their contractual duties. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
I also have a paper for everybody here. Now that we're at this point, I was going to hand this out earlier. For all board members, but especially the new board members, that's a calendar of what we do throughout the year, and it also, so you know what's coming up at board meetings, but the back is the rotation of when we put up supplemental contracts and everything. So, why don't you guys have a copy of that?
Yes, thank you.
Discussion?
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Under the head coaches, I'm going to 2A, a motion to approve Ryan Dowling as head soccer coach.
Motion.
Second.
Michael, and discussion?
Yeah, I would like to discuss it. I think that there's a few people in this district, in this town, and I think right in front of me is Michelle and Dan, which is a great example. But I think if you know Ryan, the kid has more passion than probably most people I know, and to have a program that didn't exist 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it didn't exist. And I mean, I'm a football player and I love football, and Leetonia is a football town. But when you look at the demographics of the country, the type of person that we welcome to Leetonia and the future young demographics, they want their kids to play soccer. And when you don't offer a soccer program, you alienate yourself a little bit. And I remember when I was on the levee, we lost a couple kids because they wanted to play soccer. And we had also had a program, but we had nothing at the school. And they went to, I think, Crestview or Columbiana. And it was really sad. But Ryan, and I know him pretty well, I mean, he's the kind of guy that his phone's always on. And he will live, die, and breathe for the soccer program. And I mean, he is soccer. I mean, and the passion when you're around Ryan is exciting. And for that main reason is why, I'm definitely voting yes for Ryan.
Thank you.
On A through G, I'll ask this for all of them, Rob. Do they all have PASs and CPR? Do they all meet
All the
that
head coaches
criteria?
do, yes.
All the head coaches.
All the head coaches do.
That's good.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Okay, 2B, cross-country coach Dave Adams.
Motion.
Second?
Roll.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes. 4C, volleyball coach Ron Voitis.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes. Athletic director John McElduff on 4D.
Motion.
Motion, thank you.
Second?
Discussion. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes. I'm sorry, 4, I said 2E, assistant athletic director Marcia Duco. Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Discussion. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Abstain.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes. 2F, head golf coach James DeJane.
Motion.
Thank you, Glenn.
Second?
Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah, I think he falls into that Ryan category.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he's just, he's wonderful.
Yeah. He is. Roll.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley? Sorry.
Yes.
Getting ahead of myself.
Looking at one there. 2G, head football coach Matt Aldermore. I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Thank you. Discussion?
I'll say a few things. I think for the public, perhaps to phrase it properly, a sensitive topic, but a topic that was methodically analyzed. And I think the public needs to know this, that it was methodically analyzed for months and months and months, and it is what it is, and it wasn't rushed. And, everyone knows we put it out for bid, and all these different things to get to this point. So that's all I have to say.
Roll.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
No.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
3A and B, assistant coaches Jamie Kagelmeyer for baseball and John McElduff for softball.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Same question, I'm assuming John does because he was in the one above. Does Jamie have his PAS and CPR?
No, we talked about that today. He's working on it. But we've discussed that too, that he will not be a practice without Jimmy Green, correct?
Correct.
He won't be able to do practice on his own.
What does our policy say? Does our policy say, what does it say? Does it say they cannot be approved?
No. But what we've done is we've set the guideline that the head coach has to be approved, and the other one has to be in process. The assistant will have to be in process and finish in a timely fashion. Did I say that?
Yes.
Okay.
He will also not be paid until he completes it.
Right.
Well, once again, I'm going to vote no because I think they should have their PAS, they should have their CPR, and they should have had plenty of time to get that done, and the head coach should make sure they get it done.
But how long are they good for once you get that?
CPR, PAS is 3 years. Yeah, and they're not easy. They were a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
They're a pain in the butt to get.
They are.
You got to take
But what does
8-hour
it stand
course.
for?
Pupil activity supervisor. You got to get fingerprinted, check for felonies.
It's over $200.
It's over $200.
Savvy is almost impossible.
There's some dedication in getting, yeah.
Yes.
How far is Jamie in the process?
He's done his class. You have to do a class. No, it's 2 hours. It's a sports medicine class. He's done his concussion course, and he's done his National Federation of High School. I do believe he's completed. He still has to get his fingerprints, and then when those are completed, then you have to go to the ODE, get a safe sign-on account, which if you're not in education, you haven't the slightest idea what that is. So I'll go in and I'll help them, set up that account. And you can't mail paper applications anymore. It has to be on the internet, and it's getting to be more and more a difficult process. I think we had hired a softball coach who, when he found out what he had to go through, and he didn't come out right out and say it, but thanks, but no thanks. So.
That's state guidelines, that's right.
Yeah, you have to have a period. But it's more and more difficult. If you're not computer savvy, you better have somebody that is, or it's difficult.
Yeah, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. I really don't. And I know Jamie's from town, but I think the softball coach was from Southern. Is that the one? The softball coach?
Well, we had one that actually we hired. Bob Weary from Columbiana.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know those people. We could approve them, and they failed the fingerprint test.
Right.
Or there's some felony out there or something. I just don't want to be embarrassed by that. So I just think it's good policy that they should have to have it. But the downside of that is, like John said, some people just won't go through that if they don't think you're going to hire them. So there's good and bad.
Right.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
No.
C1 and 2 substitutes. Christina Smith as a substitute bus driver. And Georgia Dropic, that's another name. And Eli Weichert as substitute teachers for the remainder of the 2013 school year.
Motion.
Second.
Like I said, I always say it's nice to have substitute bus drivers. We were short the other day and had to get one here within 10 minutes. And actually, Christine's the one that came up, which was nice. So, any other discussion?
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
D1 and 2, approve the open enrollment application and timeline from April 1st, 2014 to August 22nd, 2014 for the upcoming school year, and the calendar for the 2014-15 school year. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
On the open enrollment, I've been seeing a lot of those in the paper. I brought the South Ranges here.
Right.
I didn't get a chance to read it in great detail, but there's some things I'd like for us to consider. And I don't know if we have, the first thing I'd like to consider is us limiting the application time period to 1 month. So, and I don't need answers, right? I just want us to consider this. I'd like the applications to be, the people have to bring them in person. I'd really like a committee to review our candidates. The face-to-face interview with the kids and the parents, and I'd like us to not accept any applications after our deadline closes. The question, I don't need an answer tonight, Rob, is have we rejected anyone in the last 3 years? And then a couple things. I'd like some reports. Before I would want to vote on something like this, I'd like to see some history or some trends. So I'd like to see maybe some reports, and you don't have to do these right away by any means, but I'd like a list of our open enrollment students, and I'd like to see like when they were accepted, how long they've been at Leetonia. I'd like to see their test scores. Okay, I don't know if it behooves us to bring in a third grader or 3 third graders or any grade, and they're going to fail the test, or they are failing the test. So I'd like to see how our kids are doing and how open enrollment kids are doing on those tests. I'd like to see if we have some GPA or some type of classroom performance on our open enrollment kids. I'd like to see if there's any discipline issues on them, Saturday school suspensions, alternative school, and if there's any incremental costs involved with them. Like, do we have aides? Do they have to have an aide? How many IEPs are we writing for them? And then I'd like to look at class size. If I looked at our K through 6 class size, I'd like to see there's 25 Leetonia kids, there's 4 open enrollments for a total of 29 class sizes. And then the other thing I would like to see on this is something like this, is it possible for us to get it like a month before or 3 weeks before so that I could sit there and look at that? I got this Monday. I would have liked to have, and I would have like had this discussion before it came up for vote
Right.
amongst the board members.
So now, to answer your question, we do look at all those things, and that's pretty easy to get. We
Yeah.
have denied people. We do look at balance, and we have revoked open enrollment, and we have done all those things. The question here is, I think you want to see it more in the summer when the names. We have to give it to the state by February to say that we're actually going to have open enrollment.
Okay.
Or else we close the door. It's not a possibility.
Yeah, you have a timeline here. I'm assuming this is on that timeline.
Yeah.
Or something. So a
Yeah.
month before the
Right.
timeline, we would want to discuss.
So you wanted to see the actual look at the applicants. This is just saying.
No, I would like to look at the policy and be able to review it, and I think as a board member, one of my most important things is policy and
Right.
policy decisions.
Right.
I do not think I had any chance to input anything on this policy.
Right.
And I think that's one thing I would like to be able to do.
Right.
I'm not saying I would even change it. I would just like to make sure that people in town, if they're involved in this, they're telling me things. I'd like to get a chance to try to change it.
Right, and like I said, the policy is mostly Neola and pretty basic.
Okay.
We can adjust it. Some of it's law about as you look in there, the equity and some of the things are
Yeah,
of that are by
Yes.
law. They're determined about students and IEPs and some of the things that are in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, this Cheryl, we have to give it by February down there to Region 7.
That we're going to do.
To say that we're going to have open enrollment.
But that's tomorrow.
Yeah, to say we can have open enrollment. Now, as far as the guidelines we give the students, we can adjust those. But if you don't approve having open enrollment...
Yeah, you're just telling the state, we're an open enrollment
Right,
school.
yeah, the
Okay.
South Range didn't have open
So we
enrollment.
do have a chance then to review this and
Yeah,
talk
we
about
have a chance to review the
Okay.
policy.
And I had a personal experience with this year, and it was in basketball. I had a kid come for the semester. Parents were chirping at me, why are we taking him, why are we taking him? He comes to my first practice, I put him out in the cafeteria because he was a disruption, okay? Turns out he had 3 Fs. So I'm driving home a day later saying, why did we take this kid?
Yeah.
He came to my practice, disrupted everything. I had a nice pattern going, plus he has 3 Fs. So it got me thinking.
Yeah, that wasn't open enrollment. That was a different thing, and that wasn't open enrollment. That was an agreement because of a home situation.
Okay.
It's a little different. We have 2 or 3 students here on an agreement, one from Worcester and a couple others, that, where their grandparent is the better living situation for the home life. And that's a little different. That's not open enrollment.
The grandparent lives in the district.
And the grandparent.
I think I know the situation. I think to take off from where Larry's saying, which I think is all excellent points that Larry brought up, but as a seesaw has 2 sides, I think we, as importantly, need to address the exodus. And so I would love to know why the exodus happens, too. When someone leaves the district for an open enrollment, and another thing, I'd like to know why. Was there a bowling problem? Was there a teacher problem? Was there a sports problem? Did the family just, because I know 5 years ago when I first got on, the amount of exodus was way outweighing the amount of coming in. And it's nice to see that it is balanced, but like as Larry says, you like to have quality. Because if you get if there's not quality there, then the test scores could go down. And we're not all about test scores like other districts. We don't just live for the test score, but
It was nice to have good ones.
if you're bringing all kids, yeah, right.
And like I said, we've had situations where also open enrollment, where the court has asked us because of the best placement. I can think of one recently. But usually, those are monitored. And as I said, that was a little different situation. That was
So how would we as a board go about saying, I'd like to look at this policy, I have some thoughts and ideas. How would we go about getting that policy changed? How do we do that as a board? I mean, the dynamics of this board are different than the dynamics of boards I was on previously. So how do you guys go about doing that, or how should we do that?
Well, that would be, like I said, that policy is in the policy, and that's pretty much what you saw in your packet is the policy that is in the book. That's word for word.
Okay.
It's the same. Now, as I said, it's the same. Now, Neola, we can adjust it, add our own in there. We have to send it to them to be reviewed. Actually, I was going to talk, Mr. Henderson is on the policy committee with Mr. Jennings. We're going to meet
So
here.
that would be our,
We would
if
make-
I wanted to make some suggestions, I could send it to that committee. All right, that's fine.
And we have a few...
That makes sense.
We just got policy that I'm going to look over with Neola on March 3rd, and we can add that. Twice a year it's reviewed, the policy. Once in October, once in March. So, okay?
Mr. Brolly?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Use of facilities, Leetonia Washington Baseball for the open gym in March. Leetonia Washington Pony League, the use of the facilities for pony games for their games in April to June. And Leetonia Washington Softball for the use of the facilities for their softball games May to July. And last, the Leetonia Masonic Lodge to use the facilities for the annual Easter egg hunt on April 12, 2014.
Motion.
Larry?
Second.
Discussion?
I assume that if L&W is using it outside of school time, that they're supporting Porta Johns and all that stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Malcolm Duff looks that up. They pay, we pay till the end of the school year.
Right, and then they take,
Then
they
over.
pick up there.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Brolly?
Yes.
Okay. Business operator, F1 and 2, approve the enterprise zone agreement as attached and the enterprise zone compensation agreement as attached. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Actually, thank you for coming. Chip has been talk about helping the district and saving money. Chip, they should know he negotiated almost our whole gas oil lease for our lands, along with the village, which was nice of him. He's also pretty much put this together with Penn X, and I appreciate that all. So I brought him in tonight to answer any questions you may have on the agreement.
Any questions?
Thanks for coming.
Pretty much the same agreement as what you had before with GI, and then was amended with the exact same terms. Obviously, this expansion project's about $33 million. I think the original project was $17 million about. So it's going to be twice the size. I think this building's going to be 170,000 square feet. I think the original building up there is about 94,000 square feet. So obviously another 65 employees is planned to come on board there in the next couple years with this expansion project. So adding to their already 75 employees. So
Projected groundbreaking?
they want to get started as soon as possible. I think in your resolution I would include something to the effect that you acknowledge receipt of the notice from the county on this particular matter. And I don't know whether you had, I think you may have done this at the prior meeting. Did you pass any sort of resolution waiving any sort of time
No, I asked the
notice
attorney.
requirements?
I asked the attorney, and he said this was all I needed, were these two.
Yeah, I think if you want everybody to act immediately on this thing, you probably would want some sort of waiving, some sort of notice period, and authorizing the county and village to act at its earliest convenience, something in your resolution. I don't know who drafts your resolutions.
I emailed this to our school attorney, and he said that that's all we had to do. That the way he understood it, the way I understood what he said was.
It'll happen. It's just those formal notice requirements, and that's fine. I mean, you should follow the advice of your council. I represent the village of Leetonia, so.
Everything's done at the village, no zoning issues, everything's good to go?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, that's our industrial park, so.
Yeah.
Obviously, this.
You think with these waivers, it could perhaps speed it along? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, there's notice periods involved, especially, I'm sure you guys are more than familiar with the compensation agreements and how it works and the enterprise zone agreements, and things of that nature. Obviously, there was concessions made, tax incentives in order for, to attract this business. Obviously, as you being a businessman know, this company had connections to Pennsylvania and everywhere. Where were they going to expand? Was it going to be here or was it going to be somewhere else? And I think the school, the village, everybody came together and wanted to see this happen, and it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be a great thing for our community. Hopefully it'll bring in some more families, and with an extra 65 jobs, hopefully it'll be local people getting hired and new families coming to Leetonia, hopefully.
And the timeline he sent me, I'd like to go to the council next Wednesday, then back to the county by March 7th, and from that was their goal, was to be off and running. Dave emailed me today, he wants to meet up with me next week. He's going to be in town from Tuesday to Friday. Do you suggest that I get this approved, then and if I can add on a third to waive the notice to review? And what was the second thing you said?
I guess basic same thing, authorizing the county and the village to act on this at its earliest convenience. Obviously, we're going to be going, hopefully, next Wednesday, passing resolutions authorizing our people to enter into these agreements. Then it goes down to the county.
It wouldn't hurt passing that as just to cover our bases.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do this first, though. 1 and 2 vote.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
And add under F3 that the Board of Education waives the right to, as I said, waive the notice to review and authorizes the county and village to act at its earliest convenience on the project.
Motion.
Second.
Roll.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
We did that to cover ourselves just in case. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming, Chip. I appreciate it. Miscellaneous G, we have 2. The Bears to Be preschool, they renew every February to use the facility and approve the attached wireless agreement with Access for fiscal year 2015. A motion?
Second.
Discussion?
On the access, can you give me a brief summary of that? What's the total cost? There's all kind of numbers in there. I was trying to figure out which one was the right one.
I think probably this will help you better than the actual contract. Why don't you get this? That's the net cost after all the E-rate reimbursements. I think that's probably, now in addition to that, we do pay a maintenance fee that
I was going to ask
varies.
you about that. That's addition
It
to
can
this?
be $2,000 to $3,000, and then if anything else that they need, they split it among all the districts who are a member of the Access.
Okay.
So it's not going to be that set fee that's listed right there.
And this is basically our
This is
internet
our internet,
service and
our
phone
wireless,
service.
not phone.
Not phone.
This is just internet, email, and wireless for the building.
Okay. And if we have a problem, if it's slow, they come up and it's covered by this? This is one of the things
They
that's covered?
take care of all of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Roll.
It's going down next year, huh?
It's based on our ADM.
Basically, yeah.
Oh,
That's not a student
okay.
enrollment.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Go ahead, discussion around the table.
Michael, do you have any discussion on any subjects?
No, I do not.
Larry?
I have one quick thing, and it will be quick. On the county units, Rob, can you get me some information on this? And you and I have talked about this before. Can you give me the effect on capacity, how many classrooms the county units take up? And can you also let me know how many minutes Leetonia teachers are teaching the county students? And if that's happening, what are the county teachers doing when the Leetonia teachers are teaching their students? And the last thing is, what do we pay in total to the county? What do we pay for their services that they render to us? Is there just one fund, Jen, or is there several funds I need to add
There's
up?
several funds.
There's several.
I'll email them all
That's
to
fine.
you, because there's a list
If you had to ballpark it, under 100,000, over 100,000?
for the entire year.
Yes.
Do you want,
Whatever you think is,
well, there's a lot that's involved with the county. We have psychology, we have speech language, we have OT, PT. It's close to 700,000.
700,000.
Special education, it's expensive.
Okay.
And we have 5 units, 5 units here.
Yeah, if you just would document that and send it to all the board members, I would just like to have that in mind.
Yeah.
Little personal inventory of, I guess, school knowledge.
Yeah. The 700,000 was more because we had to service them in the other school, so we saved on the busing.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah, I
saved
know.
on, you know, so it's,
Yeah.
so, okay, anything else?
That's all I have.
Richard? Nothing. And I'm okay myself.
Okay, there's no personnel, just negotiations. You want to executive session?
Okay, the board will now adjourn into executive session to discuss negotiations. Personnel.
No personnel.
Oh, no personnel.
I crossed that.
Board adjourned.
Motion.
Motion to do that.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, first, Mike.
First, second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Can I borrow your sheet?
Let's go. Hold on.
I need
We were right up there.
I need the 4-3.
Okay, minute.